City Commission regular meeting. Today's date is Monday, January the 12th, 2026. The time is 4:30 p.m. On behalf of the City Commission, I want to say Happy New Year to all of you all in attendance and to all of those who are watching this program live today. So we're excited about you being here and hope you get a chance to see your city government in action. And we're going to start off with a moment of silence and honor and respect for some things that have happened in our community, in our country, and in our state. And then we're going to have a group of young Danville High School students who are going to rise and face the flag and going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag this afternoon. I said I was going to put you to work, right? So that's the first task, okay? So a moment of silence, please. Thank you all. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. To my fellow commissioners, I want to ask you all for a motion to approve today's agenda as presented. I want to take the privilege of the chairperson. We're going to let item number 5 be a rotating, a floating item. Our guest of honor is being recognized by someone else this afternoon, so he is probably going to arrive at our meeting a little later today, so we're going to just keep on skipping number 5 until he shows up. So can I entertain a motion to approve the agenda with number 5 being a floating item on the agenda today?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you all. All those in favor of approving that agenda, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, likewise, motion carries. Thank you all. Now we're going to veer from our agenda, and we're going to have a statement read to all of us by our city manager in lieu of some things that have been going on in our community. So, Mr. Coffey.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioner, Commissioners. We appreciate the floor for a minute. We would like to briefly acknowledge the incident with the police officer involved fatality from this weekend. We would like to confirm that there is an ongoing investigation of the incident being conducted by the Kentucky State Police, and that the Danville Police Department did issue a press release, and at this time there will not be any further statements by the city on the matter.
Thank you, sir. Also not going to entertain any questions and comments from the commission as well. So, thank you. Okay, next on our agenda then is that all-important opportunity to hear from the public. This is your first opportunity to speak to the commission. You can come to the mic once you're recognized, and we'll give you 3 minutes or less. And it's called a listening opportunity where we listen to you. We usually do not respond to people at this time. But at this time, you're only allowed to speak to us, talk to us about items that are on the written agenda. There's another opportunity later on where you can talk to us about anything that's on your mind. Not always say anything that's legal that's on your mind, but you get an opportunity. It does not have to be on our agenda. So anyone desiring to speak to us at this gesture about things that are on our agenda? Thank you then again for that, but I want to also thank you for your comments and your calls over the weekend about some things on our agenda. So the public needs to know that we have heard from some of you also. So good. Okay, let's move along then. Next item is the approval of the minutes of our previous meetings, and the chair would like to entertain a motion to accept the minutes as read, as printed.
I'll make a,
No, go ahead. Go.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of 12/8/2025 as presented.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Mr. Collins, you want to be the second?
No, I didn't get to do it, so I'm not going to do it.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Been properly moved in second. Any questions or comments, additions or deletions to our minutes? Hearing none, then we would like to call for the question. All those in favor of approving our minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed likewise, motion carries. Thank you all. Oh, next item on the agenda is a proclamation in honor of the Boyle County High School football team. Commissioner Peak, you want to read that proclamation for us?
Comes Coach Haddix. Do you have any more coming, or do you?
This is what we got.
Oh, that's okay.
A lot of them
That's-
got other sports and practices.
I understand.
Well, that's the whole team, all right.
That's right.
All right, that's all right. Okay.
Okay. Whereas the Boyle County High School Rebels football team had an outstanding year representing Boyle County High School and the community, and whereas the Boyle County Rebels finished their season 14-1, winning the Kentucky High School Athletic Association Class 4A State Championship on Friday, December 5th, 2025, and whereas the Boyle County Rebels won their 13th state championship, the City Commission would like to congratulate the team and coaches on their outstanding year in representation of Danville and Boyle County. And whereas the Boyle County Rebels football team players are outstanding role models to the youth of Danville and Boyle County, all of the members are applauded for their exemplary attitude and contributions both on and off the field. And whereas the Boyle County High School football team members and coaches are shining examples of focus and dedication to be the best that they can be as a team, coming together to accomplish great things, they are to be commended. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor James J.H. Atkins and the Board of Commissioners of the City of Danville on this 12th day of January 2026 do hereby congratulate the Boyle County Rebels football team on becoming the 2025 KHSAA State 4A champions, and encourage all citizens of Danville and Boyle County to congratulate them on their success and representation of Danville and Boyle County.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair will entertain a motion to accept this proclamation or to reject the proclamation.
My microphone, I move that we accept.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor of accepting this proclamation to recognize and to congratulate the Boyle County High School football team's state championship, please say aye.
Aye.
2025 state championship, right?
Yep.
All right.
25.
All right. Congratulations. Coach, you want to have a few words?
Yeah, just talking about, and what it talks about our team and our program, thank you very much for that. We're very blessed, I said, very blessed to coach here and be a part of this community, and what we do, and it's more of it's not just a team, you know, at some places it's just a team, and this year and that year, and it's a prime example of us sitting out here in the hallway, and this young man doesn't have weightlifting right now in class. So he's a senior, and he's not coming back to the team next year, and he's going to do this. And the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, well, how's boot camp going? How's weightlifting going? Worried about the next year's team. And, you know, that's the difference in our place. I feel like in a lot of different places, they just worry about themselves or that team. But we talk about who we play for and what we do. It's for the program, and you want to see it continue to do great things. And that was just a testament. This guy had been he was a senior, as a 1-year starter for us at running back. And you know, when you look at his stature, he's not the biggest guy. And a lot of times we would go out before games and you know, well, this is our starting running back, and we don't play a bunch of these teams. And this young man ran for over 1,800 yards. Was a Mr. Football candidate, one of 9 seniors in the state of Kentucky, and just a testament to show up and go to work every day, and good things are going to happen. But, you know, just very, very proud of this young man and what he's done. And just all of our seniors, we had 17 seniors that are going to move on, some college guys, some that aren't going to college, but all had a great experience playing high school football. I think Jodin's going to say a few things here, and then we'll move on. Thank you for having us.
John, he's almost done this. But I always like to ask high school kids to give me their name, their rank, and their serial number. All right, so you do that.
I don't know my serial number or anything like that, but my name's Jordan Smith Heisel. I'm a senior for the Boyle County football team. Well, I was. And just a couple things that made this year special was that, you know, before the season, nobody thought we were going to win state championship. You know, they had other teams shoot into it, and we all just saw that as something we could work toward. And as a team, we really came together, I'd say, after that Lexington Catholic loss, and it made us come together and just realize that if we want to be like the previous teams, that we can't do what last year's team did and settle and not grind. So the rest of the season, we just grinded and we got it done.
All right, well, thank you. Let's go down and get a picture with the coach and his one player.
Very important.
Very important player. 1,800 yards on the ground. And Coach, why don't we give all the coaches and all the players a little small token to keep the city? This is only you two guys showed up. We only had two, so give us a number and we'll get those small tokens. Man, that many kids in the whole school. All right. Don't break the camera. Come on.
I'm outdated now. Yeah, I had it every year. I said, I want to make sure this shirt's outdated. Gotta get the new brand.
All right. Congratulations again. We're going to ask Mrs. Mimi Becker if she would come forward. She's going to announce the Art Citizen of the Year for us and then do a proclamation for us.
Thank you. Thank you again. It's always such a privilege for us to, first of all, be honoring and selecting two members of our community who have spent many, many years working in the arts in two very different activities. I also have to kind of say it's a little bit strange. I'm looking at the back row, and I do believe this is the first time that Wilma Brown has not been here for this award. She was the first recipient of the Art Citizen of the Year many years ago. And so we are sorry she doesn't live here anymore, but you know, it's good that we recognized her many years ago.
She's still here.
She's still here.
Yes, ma'am, she's still here.
In spirit, right?
Yes,
In
that's
spirit.
right. Still harassing the commission.
Okay. I would like to ask our two recipients if they would both come forward. David Farmer and Paula Meckes. You'll see them right over here. Each of these individuals have served this community for many years. David, as a visual artist, currently he is the artist in residence at the Art Center of the Bluegrass that is well represented this evening. I'm very glad to see them. See them back there? And Paula Meckes, who really dual roles in our community, but she taught at Kentucky School for the Deaf for 35 years. And I know she doesn't look like that, does she? So she was much responsible at KSD for incorporating arts across kind of the board in their curriculum. She now serves as the co-coordinator of the dance program for the city of Danville. Actually, it's for the whole community, but it is in residence at Jenny Rogers Community Center. So another wonderful reason for having the community center, because it really opened up a beautiful venue for them. So David came to this community. He's not a resident originally of the community, but after many years serving in the private sector, he did come here and he worked for the state of Kentucky here, and then became, I believe, the very first artist in residence at the Arts Center. He has been very generous throughout the years in his time and his donations to help support arts causes. Paula's program has developed into a very large arts program, the dance program. She has 75 to 80 students each term who are participating in dance. So we felt like it was well timed to recognize the significance of dance in our arts community. She also has spent many years choreographing for West T. Hill and for Danville students in their productions. So each year, we give a small gift to each of our recipients. And lately, we have been choosing to have something made by a local artist, varying artist, just for this occasion. So, make it a little later if they wish. But I'll just tell you, it is a piece by Kate Snyder, one of her original mosaic pieces. We also, that's a token, we also make a donation to a community organization in their honor. David chose the Humane Society, and Paula has chosen the Kentucky School for the Deaf Charitable Foundation to provide tickets for KSD students to local arts productions and performances. So, and one other side thing, if you notice out in the lobby, there is an art exhibit. This is continuing one of each month. We have an art exhibit around town. This month, it just so happened to be KSD, and that really was an accident. I have to plan the art exhibits and their placements months in advance prior to our having chosen Paula, so I thought it was really super that it happened this way. So, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I said they could say a couple of words. David said that's all he has. No,
Well,
I think he said 3 or 4.
Let's let
3 or
the
4
city,
words.
let's let Commissioner Holland read the proclamation
Okay.
first, and then
All
we'll
right.
hear from the two awardees.
I'll read this here. Okay, 2025 Art Citizen of the Year, whereas the arts are a vital component of life in Danville and Bull County, providing wide variety of activities engaging children and families of all ages, abilities, and interests. Whereas the arts community in Danville and Bull County is represented by many talented individuals and organizations offering opportunities including theater, music, visual and performing arts, writing, educational institutions, museums, libraries, and businesses. Whereas David Farmer has had a lifelong love of arts, which began as a young child who was happiest when working with crayons and paper. And whereas David Farmer used his love of the art to establish a successful career as a painter following military service and employment in the public sector. Whereas David Farmer has engaged with children and visitors at his studio at the Art Center of the Bluegrass as the artist in residence for many years. Whereas David Farmer generously donates his work to multiple arts and worthy organizations to support their missions. And whereas David Farmer has represented the local arts community, having several pieces of his work selected for private and public collections in numerous locations in Danville and other locations. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Danville Board of Commissions recognizes the significance of the contribution of the arts to the vitality of the community and would like to be known that David Farmer has been selected and recognized as the 2025 Art Citizen of the Year and designated by the Arts Commission of Danville, Bull County.
Commissioner Carter would like to read the next proclamation.
Yes, I would. 2025 Art Citizen of the Year, whereas the arts are a visual component of life in Danville and Bull County, providing a wide variety of activities engaging children and families of all ages, abilities, and interests. And whereas the arts community in Danville, Bull County is represented by many talented, dedicated individuals and organizations offering opportunities, including theater, music, visual, and performing arts, writing, educational institutions, museums, libraries, businesses, and whereas Paula Mekas has dedicated her life to making the arts accessible to all those in our community, whereas Paula Mekas served the students of the Kentucky School for the Deaf in her 35-year career at the school, whereas Paula Mekas was instrumental in the development of the art program at KSD, incorporating theater, dance, guest artists, and live performance opportunities for the students, and whereas Paula Mekas initiated the dance program at the Agora Club, which became the dance program for the Danville Bull County Parks and Recreation, currently serving 70 to 80 students each term. Whereas Paula Mekas has worked with local school and community theaters to choreograph many performances. Now therefore, let it be resolved that the City of Danville Board of Commissioners recognizes the significance of the contributions of the arts and vitality of the community and would like it to be known that Paula Mekas has been selected and recognized as the 2025 Art Citizen of the Year as designated by the Arts Commission of Danville County.
All right, now we'll entertain a few words from the recipients. Mr. Farmer?
Well, thank you very much. I'm quite honored by this. This would not have been possible without the support I've had with the community here, especially the City of Danville and the Arts Center down the road, which has been quite an asset to my development and career and so forth. And it's just been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, I just can't get away.
I didn't know I was going to have to speak, but I thank you so much for this honor. It was very unexpected and surprised, and I appreciate it so much. But everything I've done in the arts, whether I was at KSD or in the community, it's always been a collaborative effort with many, many people, and several of them are here sitting in the audience or in the seats today, including my daughter, who I've also collaborated a lot in dance. And I thank everybody for this honor, and thank you for being here, friends. No, but that'd be a dance doll.
We have a small piece in the city.
Smile, David.
Like right here. All right, smile.
It's not dinner time yet, is it? I'd like to call all the Danville High School students back to the Commissioner's Chamber. Danville High School kids, come back to the chamber, please.
Get back in
Get
here.
back. Oh,
That was really sweet.
do I need to use my teacher voice?
You need to use the chief of police.
I thought she did, unless, I think that's what I had heard,
Yeah, they're out of here.
maybe from my
Yes, tell them to come back in there, yes.
Well, I'll have to go back and see what he's got new.
Oh, okay. All right, that is the one.
I never heard of high school kids having a 5 o'clock curfew.
Not PM.
I guess they've been in school all day, right?
Yeah, well, okay.
They're gone, all right. All right. All right, you can go, ma'am. I want to recognize the Danville High School students.
Hey, boy, sitting right there.
Leadership class doing what's called their intercession, and they had the privilege of studying city government from a leadership aspect. But they spent a lot of time in the city hall. Oh, that wasn't known? Oh. They spent a lot of time in City Hall doing that time period. Wanted to recognize them and thank them for their attendance tonight and to apologize because they came to see the mayor. The mayor was out of the office. The key is that the mayor's never in the office, but they had to find that out the hard way. So thank you for your presence tonight, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for sticking around.
I'm trying to see if Mr. Robert Todd has arrived yet. Well, I don't think he's here yet. So let's move on. Let's go on to, next on our agenda is the Homeless Coalition update. Mr. Bryce Gibson is going to do that for us. Welcome, Mr. Gibson.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good, sir.
All right, two things. The first thing I need to talk about is our harm reduction program. That's the umbrella that I work under for the health department. We received a grant for $166,000 from the state, which enabled us to start what's called an RCC. It's a Recovery Community Center. So we've got this office space. It's called The Bridge. It is on 455 South 4th Street. So my office is located there, and the harm reduction office is located there. And we also hired Casey Nutmaker, and she will be a full-time harm reductionist. So also at The Bridge, what we'll do is we'll have case management once a week, and we're going to have like the connector come in a couple of times a month. So it's going to be basically a resource hub for people who need anything. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you all about was what we're doing with the Homeless Coalition. Right now, we've got hotel vouchers that we're running. They are weather activated. Over the past 2 years, the health department has spent $70,000. So that's $35,000 apiece, and they were unable to have any of that funding this year. So we wrote a grant, and we got $17,500 from Hudson Ellis. Okay, and then the county gave us $8,800 to help us bridge that gap too. And what we're really needing is another $8,800 to fulfill the $35,000 a year cost for the hotels. So the hotel vouchers, basically this program works, it's weather activated, temperature of 32 degrees. Our numbers right now started doing an intake on December the 1st. I've got 36 homeless individuals that I can identify. All of them but two are Danville residents. I think I have two that were actually, addresses were outside of Danville city limits. I got some updated numbers late this afternoon from Jenny Clark. And there's 77 is what Danville Independent is reporting, and Boyle County reported 58 last year, and both of those are district-wide. So this is a huge problem that we have.
And those are students enrolled in the schools, and several families have more than one child.
Yes, they are. And they're either couch surfing or something like along those natures. So, for instance, this afternoon, I've had this family that keeps calling me. They've been at Red Roof Inn for a few months now. They have an 8-month-old child, husband, and a 4-year-old who is at Hogsett. And, you know, they're trying to make ends meet. Husband's working at Burger King. And that's where these vouchers come into play, is in instances like that, as far as with the families.
What was the head count at Boyle again?
At 58.
58. Thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. Okay, so at Boyle, that's a 1.9% population. And at Danville, it's a 3.9% of their population.
And we need to remind ourselves that those are the ones who we can recognize, those are the ones who self-report. There's still a lot of folks in our community who are I guess you want to say, they have that pride, and I understand, they don't want to report. They don't want to seek out some of the assistance, but we want to commend you on both of those programs because they're doing great work. And so what I hear is that your request is for the city to consider helping with the, I call it the winter voucher program for hotels, okay?
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm not going to make that recommendation because that's really a recommendation from the staff, but we're going to sort of violate our own protocol because we understand winters are now, and so if the staff has a recommendation, we'll try to deal with it right now.
Yeah, we could, the 8,800, I think is the number. Yeah, we can find a home for that for sure. And there's a couple different sources for it, but we need to probably also have that, and we were anticipating doing it during the budget process, the opioid settlement money. So there's 2 or 3 different scenarios where the 8,800, so the staff would certainly, if you are so inclined to fund the rest of the vouchers, then we can find a home for it inside of the budget that we have now.
Okay. With that said, I'd like to entertain a motion from the commission to finance the request of $8,800 to help with the hotel vouchers for the winter of '26.
I'll second for discussion, and my only thought was, since there's more people from Danville that need help, that maybe we could just round it up to 10, if that was possible.
Oh.
But I don't know. Have to see if Lee's crying yet. She doesn't look like she is, so.
So you're moving that we ask the staff to do a budget amendment in the amount of $10,000 to assist with the voucher program. Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Dexter?
Yes, Mayor.
Is that okay? Is it okay if I proceed?
That's okay if you proceed, yes.
Okay, all right. Well,
I was a little confused. I thought you made a motion initially.
Yeah.
So just for clarity of the record, Kevin, will you remove your first second? If you just say yes, sir, that'd be great.
I'll do
All
that.
right, then Mayor, if you'll take yours off the table, we'll be all set.
Well, I try not to make motions as a facilitator, but it's important that we try to address this need. When I said we sort of violating protocol, but sometimes you have to do that, so. It's been moved and seconded that the commission direct the staff to find a $10,000 budget amendment to fund the cost of hotel vouchers for the winter of 2026. So, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. This is very badly needed.
I'd like to,
And just for clarity, Mr. Gibson met with the city manager and I earlier this morning, along with some other members, and we went through some discussions of this stuff. And so it's important to get it out there, that it's a very important need in our community. And we encouraged him to include that as a part of his presentation tonight, even though it really wasn't on the agenda. But you got to do what you got to do, so appreciate you.
I want to thank you all for your time, and we're not going to solve this problem, and I think that we understand that, but I think that as a community, we have to come together as a whole and try to address the problem and meet the needs as best we can. And this is definitely just a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, but it's a Band-Aid. So we'll work with what we've got, and we really, really appreciate your all's time and your all's support.
Well, and the other thing we need for clarification too is that this is a reimbursement program.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just going to take and do the vouchers and pay for the stuff and then send us the receipts for reimbursement. I was trying to help from a finance person over there.
Yeah, and I'll get with you and we'll talk about how we'll do it just like we're doing it with the county.
Sure. Do it the way she directs you to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
don't say the county,
Yeah,
right? 'Cause-
that's right,
yeah,
that's
'cause
right.
look,
Just however you tell me to do it, it's how we're going to do it. Don't worry about it.
I don't mean that, everybody's a little different, that's all.
You're right.
Ms. Compton's going to give you the right directions, okay?
You're right. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Board, do you have the next items on the agenda?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
Human Resources year-end report, an update.
All right. Yeah, so before we get started, I just want to clarify, this is our annual year-end report. Kind of taking a little bit different approach this year, just because we have a lot of things to discuss for long-term planning. So as we get into this, I do want to just clarify that, well, let me get this to work. All right, there we go. All right, there you go. All right. All right, so for this report, I just want to clarify this. I'm going to take a little bit different approach this year. I want to summarize the overall state of our workforce for the past calendar year, some things to look at as we go into future planning, but to help us as we get into the budget process, which I can't believe it's already here for 2027. So this is some of the information I'm going to share with you is just informational purposes, more for us to kind of digest and for you as a board to bring back feedback to us as staff to give us directive on things to think about that you would like to see maybe implemented throughout the budget process. So we'll go ahead and get started, and then as I go through this, if you have any questions, just let me know. So these are, as I mentioned, these are some of our current projects. As you can see here, a lot of it is tied around budget planning for next year. Currently, we're in the middle of our health insurance renewals, beginning our compensation study, and then also beginning to develop the personnel budget and looking at our staff planning and training and development for next year. So each year we've kind of done, we started this about 2 years ago, and this is a really good program. Essentially at the end of each year, usually in November, we have been conducting town hall meetings with all full-time staff. Simple terms, we try to do these in casual roundtable discussions with staff in small groups. This year we broke it out into 11 individual meetings across all the departments. Really our objective here is to really engage with the workforce, learn more about successes, things that are working, things that are not, and then also guide us on things that matter to the workforce, what we call those meat and potato initiatives that will help us as we do planning for long term. Okay, and so in simple terms, this is what the employees are saying to the city. And again, we're not making any recommendations. This is just solely informational based on those meetings. You look at our health plans. Employees are overall satisfied with the health plans. We made some changes last year with like our dental and vision, our life plans. Overall happy with that. There are a couple of minor things such as expanding coverage that we're hearing on orthodontics, for example, on dental. Also, we did talk about that we have re-engaged having discussions about the health clinic with some vendors for long-term planning. Part of that success of that program, it's a big investment. So we gauged our workforce on that. A lot of people actually voluntarily brought that up, that they want to see a clinic. So we're confident if the logistics make sense, we're able to establish an employer clinic that will see high utilization from the city's workforce. And then compensation, obviously that's always a conversation point. What's interesting about that is employees are very happy with the compensation model that the city has. The only request that they get is that city continues to try to maintain market competitiveness, which we've made a commitment to do our compensation studies annually through our vendor Hannah Resource Group, which we have strategically put on retainer 3 years ago to allow us to do that. So as long as the market is fluctuating like it is, we've committed to looking at every year annually. And then, of course, training and development. We'll talk more about training, kind of our summary here in just a second, but employees have been very happy with the training opportunities. Matter of fact, we've got a lot of requests to expand those training opportunities, and that's something with BCTC, that partnership with them, we're going to take a step back. We've had that for about 3 years now and reassess and try to see if we can expand that. And then also, we have gotten more requests about reimbursement for tuition reimbursement opportunities as well. Then when you get into total rewards, there's been a lot of feedback on holiday pay. city staff were gauged, if the city was to look at another holiday, this is what we're seeing, hearing from the staff on recommendations: New Year's Eve, Juneteenth, floating holiday, or birthday. The fire department, that is one that, and I circled that one because that one's unique because of the 24-hour shift. They have brought up the request to move from 13 hours to 24 hours holiday. That is something that we got a lot across the board with the fire department. Longevity and program, that is another one where we currently have a 3- and 5-year program. We've got a request to either expand that, which that was established in 2020. It hasn't been adjusted for inflation. And then also several requests to go to a 10-year tier on that. And then Tier 3 sick leave, we've talked a lot about that through a lot of our meetings. There's still a lot of feedback from employees looking to the city to establish a payout program for retirement for Tier 3 employees. Just to clarify, for the public's benefit, you have 3 tiers in KPPA right now. If you're a Tier 1 and Tier 2 employee, when you retire, the state gives you service credit for unused sick time. Tier 3 does not have that benefit, and so that's where those conversations have derived from. And then also discussions about sick leave donation program that was brought up by a handful of staff as well. All right, and then summarize, these are some miscellaneous things that we got, not the most common feedback, but there was enough feedback there that I thought it was important to bring it to the board's attention just to be aware of. Been a request to combine vacation and sick leave into a singular PTO. Part of that discussion, though, that drives around your state retirement tiers where the city's in the standard sick leave program with KPPA. I think you would have to have a majority of Tier 3s to look at that, but that's where that conversation is derived from. Some folks asked about comp time, which city public government agencies in Kentucky can do that both for hourly and salary. There is provisions to do that. And then a lot of discussions around doing a match in deferred compensation. The deferred comp plan, I think right now we have probably, I want to say probably 30-40% of the city employees participate in the deferred comp plan, put into like whether a 401k, 457B, in addition to their retirement. A lot of those conversations were derived about the difference between the pension benefits for Tier 1 and Tier 2 and the Tier 3. And then some discussion around paid parental leave. And then, safety personnel, there was a lot of talk about feedback from them on increasing their training incentives and so forth. And then the other last thing that we saw was inclement weather incentive. This was something that came up quite a bit. Again, we're not making recommendations. This is just solely informational. Whenever the city facility is closed to do the inclement weather, a lot of staff have brought up that have to work during those harsh weather conditions of maybe looking at adding some kind of incentive, such as an extra day of vacation pay or maybe double time. That was brought up through a lot of different meetings as well. So that's a lot of information there, but again, this is it's really important. I think these meetings are good because they allow folks to have their voice, and it really helps us identify initiatives, like I said, that really matter to the workforce for that to, keep our folks engaged. Mm-hmm. And then as we get in the budget process, I wanted to show this workflow here too. This is all the things, and we do this in step when we're putting together our workforce initiatives and our budget planning. It really starts with a healthcare plan design, which we're currently working on right now. Then once we go into that plan design, know what that healthcare plan looks like, then we start working on our base compensation as is without any changes. So that way the city knows what its base liability is for the coming budget year. And then we look at our compensation strategy based on the compensation study and those other 2 factors. And then you look at your staffing plan. Each year we will go through and meet with each department head and talk about their staffing needs and try to work collectively with that, look at what that impact is. And then beyond that, you look at all your total rewards. Those are the things such as holiday pay, your additional incentives, anything outside of compensation and healthcare is those, and leave time. Those are combined into those total rewards discussion. So it's really a 5-step process. Starts in January, and all these steps, as we're currently working through, all the way through the budget process up through April and May. And then from a 10,000-foot view, why do we do all these things? Well, these are our 5 goals right here. Recruitment and retention. Obviously, we want to recruit and retain high-quality employees. Employee engagement. When employees are here, we want to make sure they're performing at a high level, they're happy, they're satisfied. Adaptability. That means we've got to be adaptable and stay in tune to what our employees are saying, what the environmental factors around us are looking at, whether that's the regulatory environment, the economy. We've got to be able to adapt to that. And then we also need to have good, strong physical responsibility. Earl and I were having a long conversation about long-term planning the other day, and, you know, our goal is to balance all these objectives, but also be physically responsible and make sure that what we implement and manage is sustainable over the long term. And all that transpires into having good quality employees and making sure that they're performing the exceptional public service to the community. All right. And then, so as I talked about earlier, training and development. So this is a snapshot of what we've done this year as a city. So for leadership development, we did 48 hours of leadership training in 2025. A lot of that was done through our BCTC program. We also we implemented a lot of safety training. So we're trying to actually expand that. So we did between 10 and 15 hours of training for staff, all full-time staff citywide. We're looking at expanding that in 2026 to focus more on wellness as well as, you know, more cybersecurity training. And then really, what are the impacts of that training? Well, as we were looking at this, one thing that's really stuck out to me was we promoted 12 employees this year into advanced leadership positions. Looking at those 12 individuals, those are 12 individuals that really were engaged with their manager, engaged with HR, got into the leadership development programs in the last couple of years, and you really saw a difference in that. And when we went to interview and make these hiring decisions, they stuck out as part of our succession plan, and they've been receptive to that. So I think as we continue to grow, as we see more retirements, that's become a more critical component for us to evaluate. Okay, and then the recruiting update. So we've had a lot of retirements this year, and so we've talked a lot, which I'll talk a little more about that in just a second with our statistics. But this is a snapshot of what we're recruiting for right now. A lot of these positions are either close to being filled or in the final stages, so we have been very aggressive with recruiting. But also what's positive about this is we've had a really strong response rate among applicants for every city job, and so we want to continue to brand ourselves out there so we do continue to be able to have a good response rate for these positions. And then as we go into, this is a snapshot of your employment statistics at year's end. Right now, we have 168 full-time employees. The city is authorized for 182. So as I showed on that prior screen, we've got a lot of positions that we're in different stages. So we're trying to make that a priority to fill those, you know, end of the month of January, early February. Okay. And then this is your new hire snapshot. So the city hired 16 full-time employees in 2025. The city did see 11 employees turnover, which we will go through some of that here shortly with those turnover metrics. Our turnover rate this year at year's end was 6%. You know, we talked about that at our last quarterly meeting. You know, our benchmark is really 95 and above. I think it was Commissioner Caudill asked me at one point, what was other cities look like? We don't know everyone, but the ones that have shared their data, typically the average range is 10 to 15% that we've seen. We're below that. So we always set that goal of being that 95%. So we're on that. But again, it also goes back to that adaptability discussion of we need to identify areas, which we'll talk about here, and continue to adapt so we can, you know, keep that retention rate high. And then right here, this continues to shift too. So as we see this shift right now, you've got about 27% of your employees are in Tier 1. That number is shrinking. We saw that shrink this year. I think it was somewhere around 30% prior to the end of the year. But again, that goes back to a lot of those retirements. So as you look at that pie chart, that blue pie chart is going to be your Tier 3 in the next few years. That's probably going to more likely shift, I'd say probably 75, 80% as we see a lot of retirements. And so it's going to we're going to have to really assess and look at some of our policies around that Tier 3 group over the long term, because that will change the dynamic, you know, eventually. And then, of course, this is your breakdown by retirement classification. You've got 102 in non-hazardous arrests and hazardous. So that's pretty common about that split there that you see on those retirement classifications. As turnover, as I mentioned, this is our snapshot from last year to this year. We did see a little bit of uptick in turnover, so we'll talk about that as far as identifying factors to be able to adjust to that and address those throughout this year. City is, again, feel like we're still in a strong position compared to other municipalities of similar size. And we're floating around that 95% rate. So this right here is your snapshot of what turnover looks like over the last 5 years. As we were putting this together, one of the things that stuck out to me is you'll see every other year we see issues that we need to address. Like, for example, in 2023, we saw an uptick on turnover in safety personnel. We were aggressive in identifying that. We adjusted compensation for police and fire. Obviously, in 2024, you saw that number drop. Now you see kind of some of that numbers tick back up. And so there are things there for us to address, into the future. And then this is your turnover reason. So really, when you look at your turnover, obviously, you've got your retirement pie chart over there. And then you see you have about 39% of your turnover is related to other jobs. Some of that is really is tied to compensation and some other different opportunities, and I think we've got to assess those. And then the other part of it are factors that 22% are factors that are out of our control with personal items but that unfortunately sometimes those spill over into the workplace. So as we go into the new year, some of our focus is we're going to take a step back and look at our overall wellness programs and make sure that we've got additional resources to make sure that we can address these things to help folks, that are facing difficulties that may not be work-related, and then to minimize the employees having to step away from work due to these personal factors. And so we're trying to identify some things to help with that. And then this is your snapshot of your safety personnel. So as we look at that, the recruiting environment among police and fire is still very challenging. I don't think that it is going to go or subside anytime soon, so we've got to continue to focus on that. I would actually go beyond that and look at 911 is also an area that is very, needs to be a key area of focus for us going forward, just like with police and fire, because those positions are, as we've always said, they're gatekeepers to public safety. And so we want to look at that holistically across the board. And then when we look at our full-time turnover tenure, this is where your biggest impacts are. And we've had these discussions in the past. It's not your seasoned employees, it's your sub-5-year group. And so really, that's where the recruitment and retention focus has to be, because the majority of your employees are turning over in less than 5 years. The ones that turn over have less than 5 years of service, with a bulk of those of 0 to 3 years service. And so, like, for example, when we implemented the longevity program, that was designed to retain people at that 5-year level. Once they get to 5 years, typically those employees are fully vested in the retirement system. They're ingrained in their job. They're starting to develop and promote through the ranks. But your sub-5-year is your highest risk for turnover within the city historically. And then, so in summary, this is our SWOT analysis. And so this is analysis of what is the city's workforce looks like. And so obviously we look at our strengths, our weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Our goals is to take our weaknesses and make those strengths, take the threats that we're facing and create opportunities, but it all starts with identifying those areas. So our strengths is obviously the city has a strong compensation package, total rewards package. We have established now a good, strong succession plan. As you've seen with the leadership development and promotion that we've done, that was an area that we focused on and will continue to focus on. Culture and name recognition. One of the things that we see that's really beneficial is when we're talking to candidates, when we're asking what made you want to pursue employment at the city of Danville, a lot of them are coming and saying, you know what, I have someone that works for the city, they've told me about the city. Administration, we can sell the city as an employer, but it will never resonate like an employee telling a peer or a friend about their experience as an employee of the city. Now, weaknesses, we're lean in critical staffing areas. That's something that we are trying to continue to work through. And then real-time adaptability to changing labor market. That goes back to, the generational staffing discussion, different things, regulatory environment. We have to be adaptable. But our opportunities here that we've got in front of us is establish development plan for our new leaders. We've got a lot of new leaders, and so we have an opportunity in each department to set the platform for them over the next 10 to 15 years to grow into senior management roles. And then also we have an opportunity to implement additional initiatives to align with employees' needs, which is why we do the town hall meetings, right? I always say, why are we doing something if it doesn't matter? So we got to do what matters to the employees from a commonsensical standpoint. Just talk. It really goes down to just talking to the employees and listening to them and find out what really what they desire, and that's how we align our initiatives. And then as far as some of our threats, a lot of that is around the economy, rising healthcare costs. That is a challenge. Obviously, Tier 1 retirements, you're losing a lot of knowledge as the Tier 1 group exits the workforce. And then also, I mentioned earlier, some of those personal factors that's spilling over in the workplace and just general inflation, whether it's operating expenses, obviously labor rates, competitive, what I call the wage wars, so to speak. So those are things that are challenges to the city, but even though they're challenges, we've identified them. I feel like we can make those opportunities and strengths, over the long term by identifying them. So it's a lot of information. I think this year we've got a lot to look at. I've had a lot of conversations with City Manager and Earl. I kind of laid out a lot of things to look at over the next 2 to 3 years. There's a lot there. So we're kind of looking at, we're hitting the reset button and look at our strategic plan over the next 2 to 3 years, because it is a year of change and adaptability this year.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Mr. Boyd?
I just want to say, on the turnover, like where you had this chart, is there any correlation like in certain departments that are turning over more than others, the ones that are under 5 years?
Most of the turnover we've seen is on the police department.
Okay.
The majority of it, yes. And some of that is turnover, not necessarily recruits that are under contract, but lateral hires that come in and then step away. Like, I know we lost a few to some higher paying agencies this year, for example.
And then I just want to say thank you. I mean, I understand on the Tier 1, 2, and 3, it's totally different for a Tier 3 employee. So the city has to be aware of that because everything about it's different for the when they go to retire.
Yeah, and one thing I think we're starting to see, some agencies are looking at, like, for example, doing a deferred match into deferred comp to offset those differences in those pension plans. Like, for example, I sat through a webinar with KPPA last year, and they put an example of all 3 tiers up, same salary, same length of service. I think at that point, the pension for Tier 3 was at about 40% value of a Tier
Right.
1, give or take. And so
I just think it's something we have to be aware of and look at.
It's something we've got to figure out how to, Randy and I have talked a lot about that, the benefits for the Tier 3 employee when they're entering the job market, especially if they're that under 30 group, they just mean something totally different to them. And then when you're talking about the retirement side, the whole metric is different. So it is whether or not we propose a different benefit plan
Right.
for new employees, entry-level employees in the Tier 3. It is totally conceivable you could start to transition over the next couple of years into 2 different benefit plans.
Right.
Where you have one group with a PTO, another group with just totally different benefits.
Yeah.
So we've got to figure out how to recommend that, what that should look like. And so that is on Randy's mind, it is on our mind, and we are developing options that we think are applicable. And those meetings that Randy has are good because we do learn those priorities for those different employees. As he listens, he is able to footnote the variation on some of those needs.
I didn't know if, like, the League of Cities had talked about, say, a police or fire for sure. You know, Tier 1, you can retire at 20 years, and Tier 3 is 26, 27 years.
27,
I mean,
yeah.
that's just your base, not getting your full benefits. So it's just, that's a lot harder on their bodies and everything else that goes along with it. I know they had talked about it one time at the league, talking about going to the state to ask for some
Yeah.
change.
I think that's still, we won't know this year, but that was one of their legislative priorities, really to start on the hazardous duty side and push it back to the Tier 1, because I think it's 25 years right now for Tier
Right.
3 hazardous, going back to 20. What presents a challenge for local agencies is when we talk about the Tier 3 being a less benefit, the contribution rates are the same though. So your employer cost is still the same, whether it's a Tier 1 or a Tier 3 employee, like your employer match, but it is a less of a benefit. So it puts a challenge on us for long-term planning, not just us, I mean, talking to any agency, but, so I don't know where that goes, but one good thing that is beneficial is KPPA did put out a forecast along with KLC of projected rates over the next 15 years. All the rates are, because the CRS fund is pretty, I think it's like 70% funded right now, so it is projected to see those rates continue to drop over the next 15 years. So that does take some burden off the local agencies when it comes to be able to do some of these other things that we've discussed.
Thank you.
Hazardous employees are those retirement cycles, that's significant on the mental health of those
Yeah.
employees that are, and it is dispatch, it is fire, as much as police, with a little different stressors for each one. And it's easy to look at that abstractly as at the state level and just call them hazardous versus non-hazardous.
Yeah.
The retirement cycle for a hazardous employee is legitimately harder at 25 years, 23 years, 27 years versus 20. And the, just the work environment, those are difficult jobs. And I don't want to, not that the other jobs are not, but the take home, the psychology of it is different for those employees, and we have to acknowledge that.
Again, an excellent report. And when recruiting myself for city employees, it's amazing to me when I talk to folks who it's just a husband, or it's just a husband and wife, or it's a husband and wife and they got a couple of children on the side. That when they look at medical benefits and health benefits, it's like, it's major then. But if I don't have any of that, you're talking about retirement and I'm 20 years down the road, doesn't have as much impact. So we have a lot of things we're offering in the complete package, and we just got to get 30 and under to understand the value of some of the benefits that we offer.
And I think the health clinic is another strategic thought that was, the theory about, a lot about, more employers are going to that model, but it's also, it's really twofold. It's really to help, lower your healthcare costs, but also give access to care, like you said, to the employee, family members, less time away from work. So that's another value-added thing that I think would, if the logistics play out, and we've talked about it for a couple of years, but you have to have strategic partners. It can't just be the city, and there's an economic component to that to support your local workforce too. But so that is I think that's an area that we've really got to continue to try to see if we can implement.
Well, again, Mr. Board, I want to tell you thanks for that report. And Commissioners, thank you for your concern and your questions. But Mr. Board, you also have the next item. And we're about 1/3 of the way through our agenda for tonight.
This one's going to be quick unless you got a question.
I'm not just saying that to you. I'm saying that to all your colleagues that are coming up behind you, right?
Confirmed. All right.
We've done a lot of things tonight. Don't misunderstand me.
All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. So
Yes, sir.
in front of you, you have a recommendation for an amendment to our municipal utilities on-call policy. If you recall, we established this policy in 2025 to help set guidelines and compensation for employees, water and wastewater employees that have to respond to after-hours emergencies. Upon review by staff, include HR and utilities management, Marshall's in the room with me here as well. We identified some amendments that we needed to change to clarify the guidelines around employees' response times. And so in front of you, you have the policy with the changes highlighted. I will say it does not change the levels of compensation that was originally established in that policy for on-call incentives. It's more so about clarifying the guidelines of when an employee responds, what happens if they can't respond after hours, what their obligation is, and what a reasonable response time is. So it gives a little bit more guidance and direction for the on-call managers to make sure that we're taking care of those after-hours utility emergencies.
Yes. Thank you, sir. The chair would like to entertain a motion for municipal order 0112-2026-01 on-call policy
I'll
revision.
move to approve the municipal order.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk, Ms. Phillips, you have the next couple.
Yes, Mayor, before we do that, we did not get a motion to accept the proclamations for the Art Citizens of the Year. If you want to,
I move that we accept proclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, and that motion was to accept both of those proclamations? So all those in favor of accepting the Art Citizen of the Year proclamation, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
you're welcome. In your packet, you have a small list of items from our IT department. It's a list of some old iPhones that they are wanting to surplus on Gov Deals, and we're just asking that you all approve that so we can get those listed.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a motion?
I move we approve Resolution 2026-01-1201.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions about those things? I noticed it didn't have my old favorite iPhone 6 on the list. I was a little disappointed, man.
Those are in the museum somewhere.
That's right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Next item is Resolution 2601-1202, the South Street renaming. Madam Clerk, you want to talk about that one?
Yes, so the city received a request to rename South Street. The requester was given the municipal order that outlines the process for that. And so they've, in your packet, you have their request, and this is just for, I think it starts a 60-day time frame for other suggestions if you all desire to move forward with it. I don't know if Stephen wants to add anything or not.
Sure, just for clarity's sake on the process, in the letter was received as an impetus for this discussion today. And so should you deem it necessary to consider a name change for the requested South Street, then you would pass this resolution tonight that would then in turn start the process that we have by municipal order that would say you will accept nominations for a 60-day period. And then at the closure of that window, they will be presented, and then they will sit for an additional 30 days, at which time you will consider them whether you will rename the street or not. We last did this on the Boffman Avenue Street extension, and that was within the last couple years, if my memory serves me correct. So that's the process that we are employing. So upon receipt of the letter that's in your packet, if you think it's necessary to consider a name change for South Street, then you would be invited to pass the recommendation or the resolution as written, which again, does not change the name, but merely starts the process.
Thank you, sir. It's, for the record, the suggested name to change South Street is Mr. Leon Smith Street, Way, Avenue. I'm asking his daughter, she's sitting back there. Leon Smith
Wait.
Wait.
Way, okay. Well, again, it needs to be set out for the record, so with that being shared, I'd like to entertain a motion to move this to the next level, and that is to pass Resolution 2026-01-1202.
I move that we approve Resolution 2026-01-1202.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments?
And this just starts the 60 days and.
This starts the 60-day process, that's correct. I will note, since I wasn't aware that she was in attendance tonight, this is the most well-organized name change request we've received to date on the matter, so I'll commend you for that. Oh, okay. Well, that's very nice of you to give her that credit. I was giving it all to you.
Well organized and comprehensive. It
And
covers
comprehensive.
every box, it checks it.
Sure,
She
there
said
you
type
go.
A. I won't tell her you
Well,
said that.
and also, as we're just setting the record, she notes here that Mr. Smith was the first African-American lineman for KU, who, as noted here, was a pioneer barrier breaking whose life and legacy represent a distinguished civic contribution to the city and to KU. So just for historical clarification of the request being made.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of passing this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. It's underway. Thank you.
So, Mayor, as a matter of note then, upon the passing of that resolution, those who may be watching this meeting or may otherwise read of it through its minutes should be put on notice that the 60-day window to submit any additional names that may be considered, that clock starts running now. And the clerk will make us aware when that time period has expired.
And it's just about debating this one South Street.
That's correct. It is just for South Street.
Don't submit names to suggest for other places, because
That's right.
you got to go through the whole paperwork process. So we don't want to, okay, get that clarification out there. Thank you. Okay. All right, next up is the city manager report. We've already had that, haven't we? So let's.
Thank you, Mayor Commissioners. We won't take too much time. We would like to note for the commission and the community that Martin Luther King Day celebration is the 19th. The City Hall is closed. The program will begin here at 11:30 with a march from City Hall to the Norton Center, where they will have some events. It's more so, an additional event would be a 3 p.m. Time at Jenny Rogers Community Center, where there will be speakers and additional presentations. So we're excited about that. Then
Be community service.
Yep. Then we are working on the city-county parks agreement with the city attorney. We will develop, and we've spoken to the county about that, and we think we've got proper context for an amendment, just a short amendment to it, and so we'll work through that over the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, we need to wrap that up. The garbage contract, we've met with the county solid waste coordinator over Christmas with the city engineer. We've had a lot of good dialogue about that, and I think he has gathered the advice of the group, and he's going to follow up with Republic hopefully next week, and then we'll be presenting to you all the end of the month, and so that we'll get more of a comprehensive update amongst all parties involved with a strategy to go forward, understanding that the contract is set to expire June 31st of this summer. And so we want to have a thoughtful recommendation well before then. The audit, I did miss 2 sentences there from being distracted that day. So the audit, we do in fact have a draft of that. And so we will be asking that be presented at the end of this month as well. That is in review with staff. The Coffee with Commissioners, Kevin Cottle, you're on the hook for January 20th at 8 a.m. at Dairy Queen.
That's it.
Yeah, interesting selection, but.
Got to get everywhere. You know?
That's exactly right. We are attending the Kentuckian for Better Transportation Conference this week. Donna will be there, and we've done that for several years in a row and feel like it's led to some good success with some contacts with our state folks, and the Transportation Cabinet will be there, and so we'll continue that dialogue. Of course, the biggest win so far has been the bypass on the south side, where we did get the significant grant, and we appreciate Josh's work on that. There is an advertisement or an opportunity we're fleshing out with to do a regional advertisement in the Site Selector magazine with Harrodsburg. In March, they're going to talk about the industrial sites in the area. Specifically the mega sites that are in Rockcastle and Mercer County, but then there's an opportunity to advertise the Ready site here in town with the Ready sites. Both of those are identified as Ready sites. 5 of the 3 of the 5 ready sites in Kentucky are in the Bluegrass, the Kentucky Crossroads, what we've traditionally referred to. So we're trying to decide how best to communicate that and how we can communicate as a region in that regional publication in a way that we can all afford, because it is an advertisement, and it is a cost. Questions for me?
I was going to just reemphasize the highlight of the ML King program. Again, this year will probably be, we have the Bull County High School and the Danville High School's choir singing together during the program. And then we've been putting together a community choir that's going to also sing on that program. And none of the city commissioners are in the choir, so you all feel free to attend. Okay? Kevin tried, but.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me. Wouldn't even let me in the door.
Right. Okay. So thank you, sir. This brings us down to the second hear the public during this meeting. This time, folks who are in attendance can speak to the commission for 3 minutes or less about topics that are not on our agenda. Okay, anyone want to speak to the commission? Yes, sir. Mr. Dunn? Oh, you raised your hand up and he jumped up. All right. That's all right. Come on. All I saw was a blue hand go up. Mr. Glenn Baldwin, okay. All right. You're going to give the city some money, right? No. I try every time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does this go along with this? Might blow up.
What you have in front of you is about cleanup property at 207 Quisenberry Street. I've talked to the mayor and city manager about this. This property has been abandoned and left to decay for about 9 years. These pictures are how it looks presently, and as an overview, I use Google Earth. In short, it is a mess. I just wonder what's Danville going to do about it. If our grass is unsightly at our residences, we get cited by the city of Danville and fined if the matter is not taken care of in a timely manner. And like I said, 9 years in counting. What are we going to do to take care of this situation? So that's what I want to leave to you all right now.
What's the address?
207 Quisenberry. It's just south of Gethsemane Baptist Church. You go down Lebanon Road, cross over there, sort of across the street from where UPS used to be.
Yeah.
You probably can see it on there. Okay? Yep. And those are pictures that I took myself.
Yeah.
I want you to have them. You can pass around to the city commission. You can see those.
And we'll give this information to the city staff. We don't try to address these types of things.
I understand.
Of course, of that meeting, because, okay. So, Mr. Dunn, are you wanting to come and speak on this too? Oh. Not about that. Oh, something different. Oh, okay. Well, I thought I saw 2 hands, probably. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ball. Yes, sir. Mr. Dunn?
I wanted to get up. I felt sort of sorry that when the city commission decided to help the homeless program, that everybody got up and left, and I sort of felt it was like a take the money and run kind of thing. And I wanted to thank the city and the city commission for working out ways. I work with the homeless program at St. Peter and Paul Church. You know, it's everybody's problem. It's not the cities, it's not the counties, it's every resident. We live in a really generous community. Our program has been totally supported by contributions from people in the community, people in the church. And the one point that I don't know if discussed in private or not, but everybody needs to understand that people are living on a thread. And we may have 50 homeless people today, and we may have 55 at the first of next month. There are people losing their housing at the first of every month that have nowhere to go. And we helped house some people with some money that we have that got evicted 2 days before Christmas. So, you know, it's situations like that that I think everybody needs to recognize exist, and that there has to be creative ways. No one person can solve this problem. But I wanted to thank the commission for recognizing that there's a problem. And you recognize a problem oftentimes by giving money or time. So I just hope that they'll continue to look at creative ways to try and work on helping people. We can't fix the problem entirely. We can't fix people. Tried for years, still can't figure out how to do it. But, there certainly is ways to try and make a difference. So
Yes.
I just wanted to stay and thank everybody for acknowledging that.
Appreciate that.
Well, appreciate that. I would say something else to you, but now's not the appropriate time, right? Hey, you haven't called me, what's it? You always call me, we have bean soup at the church. Anyone else desire to speak to the commission tonight? All right, thank you again for your attendance. Commissioner updates and comments.
I have to say, just want to say today's groundbreaking with the county was really nice out at Alum Springs Park for the new trail. That was nice. Also want to congratulate the DCA girls basketball team on winning their state champion, or the 2A championship this past weekend, and Danville High School cheerleaders for actually placing in the top, like 7th in the state. So good things in our community.
You said the DCA girls,
Basketball.
they did what now?
They hosted, it's a 2A All-Classic
Oh, okay.
championship.
And they won, they
And they
hosted it and they won. Wow, okay, well, pretty neat. Some home cooking in, right? Oh, just joking. That's neat. Other commissioners? Wow.
Okay.
Kevin? Oh, okay. Well, let's move right along then. We still have some agenda items. Oh, the most important one. Payment of bills is next on our agenda. Keep your doors open, right? Chair will entertain a motion to pay the bills as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $2,206,000.60.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you pay the bill? Oh, good. Died for a lack of second, but thank you for your second, right?
Can we try again for a second?
Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments about the bills? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the bills as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. We get to pay our bills this time, right? Okay. Next item is Resolution 2601-1203. Mr. Carey, you have the next two items.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is related to the release of a 6-foot by 430-foot strip along the existing utilities easement located in Premier Village.
Come back
Phase
here.
2, of the villas at Ridgefield Farm. It's reflected, there's an attachment in there. That would be amendment number 17. That'd be a final plat amendment. Also included for reference is plat file 2271-B is recorded in the Bull County Courthouse showing the existing conditions for reference, and that was amendment number 16 previous. So essentially what this is the development is going to set a couple more buildings further back towards the easement, and some of the porch will overhang, is planned to overhang into the existing easement. It's just a 6-foot strip. We don't have any water or sewer utilities in the area. I think the only utility in there is cable, and that's it. So it's not a big loss for us to lose 6 feet. So that's what the request is for.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-01-1203.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Mr. Carrier, you have the next one.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is related to authorization to pursue Fund B application with KIA, money to fund wastewater treatment plant Phase 2 design, which would include planning, design, administrative expenses, and other related fees. Of course, this is just just to start the application process.
Yes.
This doesn't mean that we get the money. The total application, excuse me, for this particular Fund B application is $1,358,500. And we're just looking to get the authorization to pursue the grant application process to start it.
I move for approval of Resolution 2026-01-1204.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions of Mr. Carrier? You guys are always writing grants. We really appreciate that. So, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. We come down to the public service section of the agenda. Josh and I went to Lexington and back to a meeting today, and Josh solved all of my personal problems on the way over and back. So I'm ready to go, right? You did a good job.
When can I schedule an appointment? Do you do that freelance?
Yeah, we'll go drive somewhere, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't charge me anything. That was the good part about it. Of course, I haven't told my wife about his solutions yet either, though, right? Okay, Josh, let's go.
Thank you all. In your package, you have the agreement with Ren's Nest Child Care Center for the lease agreement for Jenny Rogers Early Learning Center. We discussed this at the last meeting, but you'll see more details in there about how what the rate will be. It'll be the same rate that we had with Boyle County Schools at 75 cents per square foot per month. It will escalate over the first year. The agreement will start March 1st, and then it'll start out with 3 classrooms, and then after 4 months, it'll go to 6 classrooms, and after another 4 months, it'll go to 9 classrooms, which is the full wing that we've made available to them. So in November 1st of 2026, the rate will reach its maximum amount, which is $4,233.75 per month. So that will be their rate when they've occupied all 9 classrooms. So we're bringing this to you all for approval, so we can get some signatures on it, get them started.
Excuse me, wow. Do they have capacity for over 100 students, 100 children?
Well, they were right at 100 is what their initial estimates are. I think potentially they could put more in there, but it comes down to the ratios and how they use each classroom and how many students they could fit in with teachers. And then also they couldn't be here tonight. They're planning to come to the next meeting to kind of introduce themselves to you all and to the community. So we'll have them here at the 26th meeting.
And they're going to have extended hours?
Yes.
Of operation?
Yes, I don't want to speak to I can't remember their hours off the top of my head, so I don't want to get that wrong, but yes.
5 in the morning to 9 at night?
Not that long, but it's definitely extended hours.
And they'll be open when schools are out of
Yes.
session and all that kind of good stuff, so working parents can get their children enrolled?
I think it'd be fair to say extended from what the previous provider's hours were. But extended plus what may be a normal thing.
Yes.
They could speak to that to you directly.
Yes. And we hope all the city employees with young children might get an opportunity to sign up their children. I got Creed on the list, right? Oh, okay. Again, this could be a biggie for our community. Another possible potential for another 100 children, that's big. Okay. Is there a motion? Have we had a motion on that one? We have not, right? Somebody make a motion to approve the Early Learning Center lease agreement.
I'll move to approve Resolution 2026-01-1205.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. You all sounded really excited when you made those motions. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in...
I just have
Yes,
one
ma'am.
question. The insurance, do we have insurance and they have insurance? Because it sort of looked like we both have insurance.
Yes, we will both have insurance. I mean,
Okay.
their insurance will be
Their
more
insurance.
specific for their use,
Okay.
but yeah, we'll have overall. And Stephen might be able to speak to that.
Our insurance speaks to the general property and casualty, but not to their business activities. So they would have their own insurance for that, but they would not, and they would insure their own contents to the difference, but not the building itself.
Yeah, it's akin to renter's insurance.
Right.
is what
Okay.
you would-
Their business plus their commercial liability from their business activities. Our insurance would just cover the actual building itself.
Okay.
Okay. Great question.
Well, I saw it in there about insurance and I just wanted to
It's all
ask.
right.
Yeah. I don't understand all that, so.
So let's go again. All those in favor of approving this lease agreement, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Thank you all. Next item, Josh, you got a lot of them, right?
Yep.
KYTC SS4A project administration.
Yes, in your package, you have a memorandum of agreement with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to administer the first phase of our Safe Streets for All grant project, the South Danville Bypass Intersection Project. They're a partner with us on this project. They're providing the bulk of the match to the grant. And, it's their roadway that they own, so we discussed with them running the project for the city. We would kind of funnel the grant funds. They would bill us. We would pay them and then ask for reimbursement and then funnel the funds back and forth between us. This agreement is for the first phase, which will cover what's the NEPA phase is what they call it, which is environmental assessment and pre-design. We met last week and did their scoping meeting with their consultant that they've selected, which is Palmer Engineering and Stantec. Palmer is our kind of local, they're not local here, but they're who we've used the past few years and helped us put this grant application together. They're out of Winchester, and then Stantec is kind of a bigger company. Stantec had actually previously done a safety corridor study for KYTC from all the way from Stanford to Danville on 150. So they studied this first in 2022. We did our safety action plan right after that with Palmer. So they've teamed together to do this project. So they've got a lot of capacity to get the project done quickly. This agreement says that that the state will administer the project for us. The first phase is $700,000, and the city will actually have no funds invested in this first phase. They've agreed that I think it's $560,000 will be covered by the federal grant, and the other $140,000 will come out of the match that KYTC has already committed. They've committed about $2.7 million in match, so they're just going to take that 140 out of that. We'll come back to you all later when we're ready to go to the next phase. This first phase take about 9 months, we're hoping, maybe 12, but if we'd really like to keep it at 9 months, because we have 5 years to spend all $15 million. So we've got to get going and get this money, get this project designed as quick as we can. So there you go. There's might be a lot of questions about this one, but this is kind of the initial kind of kickoff of this, and we'll be coming to you all pretty often with updates about this project as it goes.
Well, again, this one's exciting though, so.
Yes.
So
And
the
this
tra-
is, I'm sorry, is from where to where, just for the record again?
We're going from Fireside, which is just
Right.
just east of the railroad bridge on the bypass where the fire station is, to the last intersection will be one of the new intersections there that go into the development where Cattleman's and Azuka is.
Okay.
Ghost Pike's not included. The Ghost Pike and bypass intersection is not included because it is getting expedited as a highway safety improvement program project out of Frankfurt. They're working on that already. They should have some public meetings about it soon. That project will hopefully be done either later this year or early 2027, where this is looking more like 2028 for a start. And then it also includes the intersection between Walmart and Lowe's, Cassidy and Walton, where that intersection onto Eastonville Road, because that was ranked #1 as our most dangerous intersection when we did our safety study. So that one's included as well. That's the only one off of the bypass.
This was when I mentioned there earlier, our interaction with KBT and participating in that. This was the project that was a result of that work. We're anticipating going back to Washington DC with them again, which is where we met with FHWA the first time. We're looking towards the things that we can, since this exists, we are looking at the airport layout plan as they're finishing up their project. We're looking at those things, trying to identify what we address and propose this year in DC when we're there, and when we're meeting with our legislators, and then also well, that's enough without belaboring.
And I'll say this, the Safe Streets for All program that came down from the feds, we're one of only a handful of cities in the state that can apply for these grants because we have a safety action plan in place. And also, I think thankfully, everybody involved, we picked a really good project, and we've leapfrogged over several other cities. Like Lexington got an implementation grant for New Circle Road the year before us, and we're ahead of them already. They don't have an agreement like this in place yet. So we're moving quicker. E-Town, same round as us, got an implementation grant. They did not receive theirs yet. We were able to sneak in and get it right before the end of the federal fiscal year at the end of September and get it awarded. So we're getting ahead of everybody else, and I'm glad because I think it's going to get really busy with this kind of work as a grant program fully rolls out. So we can stay just one step ahead and maybe get ours through pretty quick. So, and just to remind everybody, it's a $12.2 million grant from the federal government and then a $2.7 million match from the state. And then we are required to, our match funds are $500,000. So.
We're intentionally moving, just so Marshall will go to DC this year. And Josh will not make the trip, and then the following year, it will be Marshall and Melanie that will go if we continue down that path. So we're trying to cycle away from just me and Josh to keep it refreshed, but then maintain somebody with experience on the trip each time. And so it will be Marshall and myself, and then next year it will not be me. It'll be Marshall and Melanie.
I'll say this too. I mean, I think Josh is being humble in this, but as far as the safety was with the Vision Zero plan that he'd recommended several years ago, that's why we're in the position we're in now. Other cities weren't necessarily doing that, but he had the foresight to apply. I think a grant paid for that as well, didn't it? That plan. But absent that plan, we wouldn't be in the spot that we're in today. So you're seeing the fruit of a valued staff and their vision to be able to implement a long-term strategic plan, which is now coming to fruition. But that doesn't happen without Josh getting that plan in place, which helps us leapfrog other communities.
Wow. Well, with all those good things said, we better get a motion on the floor, get this thing passed with Josh and people moving forward then, right? Congratulations, Josh. Is there a motion for Resolution 2026-01-1206?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-01-1206.
Second.
Thank you both. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Josh, 2201-1207.
Yes, we're asking approval to apply for a grant for the KYTC TAP program, Transportation Alternatives Program. We currently have an active grant through this program with Baughman Avenue, but the application cycle is up again. The due date is next Monday. We'll get all this turned in this week if you all approve it tonight. We looked through kind of a list of projects. Earl and I sit down and look through it, and then I talked to the Trails Alliance. We've gone back and forth with them some. The project that we'd like to apply for this time is to build the multi-use trail along Stanford Road from the existing crossing at the Clark's Run Trail and the Henson Trail up to Alta Avenue is our goal. If we can go partially and just at least get to the entrance to the stadium, that would at least get us through the most treacherous part of that corridor. But the total project cost would be $300,000, and we're required to match it with $60,000. This has been a project that's kind of been on our list for a while, even back when the zone change was done on the McAfee property, the Admiral Place property. The planning and zoning requested that a easement be put in place along Stanford Road for this trail to go into. So that's been kind of set aside and protected. But we're starting to see more development go in there. There's a last P&Z meeting, there was a fueling station that's going to go in right across from Pioneer Playhouse. So I think it's really timely for us to try to tackle this now so we can try to get ahead of some of that development and get this built before it gets too overbuilt. Like even with the new site plan coming in, the grading along Stanford Road, they're not putting anything in this easement, but the grading itself will make it difficult for us to build the trail in the future. There's going to be ditches and slopes and things that makes it more costly for us moving forward. So we can go ahead and get this trail installed now. The future development will have to build around the trail, which will make it cheaper for us in the long run. So that's the project we've landed on. I'd like to put in here the three primary goals of the TAP program: accessibility to schools, improvements to low-income mobility, and economic development. This project hits all three of those, with it being close to Bate Middle School and to our trails and around some low-income neighborhoods. So that's why we're recommending this project.
We need a motion for this one also? Man, y'all good. So, this is number 01-1207.
I move for approval of resolution number 2026-01-1207.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Actually, no
I was
smoking
like-
order now. Okay. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I do. Josh, what side of the road is that sidewalk on?
It will be on it's the south side, west side. So the stadium, same side as the stadium.
Stadium side?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we rushed through a lot of items just, was some important stuff though, pretty good. All right, Josh, you're still up. You have park surplus items.
Yes, and this is a conversation starter in trying to get these items kind of discussed as far as surplus in them. On the fairgrounds, we have a few items that we would like to remove. We're still exploring the best way to do that from a cost standpoint. They include, and they're kind of three different things here. One's the old barn that sits on the northern end of the site next to the show barn arena. It's the old barn it's getting in pretty rough shape, and from safety reasons, we need to figure something out with it. We're looking, it's with all three of these items, if we could just get someone to come take it away, we would be great with that. We don't know what someone would, if they're gonna charge us to demolish it, or if somebody was willing to come, just if they can keep the boards, they'll just come take it. So we're gonna explore that a little bit further. Tommy's gonna work on this, but the old barn is one item. The old board fence that runs between that area and White's Park, kind of along the road, there's an old two plank fence that's really fallen apart on us, and it's become kind of a maintenance issue that's really not worth saving at this point. And I've discussed this item with the county judge, and I think Tommy's going to go to the fiscal court meeting tomorrow and talk to them about it, so they're aware of it, because it does kind of run between our two properties. That's really more, it's really just a maintenance issue for us right now. And then the other items are those big rocks that we've had left over from the tennis court excavation. We've used as many of them as we can. We'd like to get rid of the rest, and we'd love it if people would just come pick them up in a safe manner and get rid of them. So we're just going to pursue, we'd like to declare those items surplus, and then, Tommy's going to explore the best way to dispose of those. Stephen, I don't know how much we need to clarify right now about our disposal method. We may end up advertising, but I'm not sure what that's going to look like. Hey, you pay us for it, or we pay you for it on some of these things, so.
Yeah, the way I referenced the specific section of KRS that will allow you some discretion in there, I didn't cite a specific thing, so it's not going to be by auction or sealed bids or disposal, but it could be a combination of those things, because that's what I was anticipating, if that's sufficient with the commission.
So you have to surplus rocks? Find that interesting.
Well, we want to give them away.
Yeah,
So we have to
I'm guilty of
say,
stealing them, because I've gotten a few and
yeah,
taken them away, so.
we want to just get rid of them. So we have to kind of, we'll have to advertise them as being available. I think is the best method we can come up with. People are going to have to load them up. We don't want to load them for people, because we don't want to tear up anybody's trucks or trailers. So, we're still exploring how we're going to manage that. But we would love it if one Saturday people just came and picked up rocks and took them away. But we got to still figure out the details of that process.
Folks will say if they see somebody hauling things away, they'll ask. And so by declaring them surplus, then we are free to get rid of them as rocks.
They're not rocks, they're boulders, though.
They're very large. They're bigger than they even look from the road when you drive by them. They're like, oh, look at that pile of rocks. They're too big to fit in a truck bed. They're very large. So you're gonna need a pretty sizable trailer to haul them off.
Yeah, we got a great big stepping stone that the lane could hardly carry.
Is there a motion on surplus property?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2026-01-1208.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, ma'am. See, we've already discussed all of this. All those in favor of surplusing these items, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right. Josh, Shannon Way Roundabout.
Yeah, so little history to this. When the developer came in with his development plans for Shannon Way, which is the road, it extends kind of from Cattleman Azuka over to Ghost Pike. They had but the intersection of the two streets, kind of midway through, they just had a four-way intersection. I requested that it be a roundabout. It wasn't required of them, so we came to an agreement that the city would cover whatever additional cost it took to make that a roundabout, because I thought that would be ultimately the best outcome. And looking at it now, I think we went the right direction with it, because otherwise that was just going to be a long drag strip that people could fly down. So they kept track of their costs throughout the project. It's a little higher than I anticipated it being. I was hoping it would be in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. It ended up being $82,335.29. The majority of that extra cost was due to There's a drainage swell that went right through this area. They had to completely redesign and reroute because I asked for a roundabout. In hindsight, if I had known that, but I still think it would have been the best. It's still the best thing to do. So, you know, in doing it now it's cheaper than if we had decided 5 years down the road that this needed to be a roundabout and us as the city went back and tried to do it. We're still saving money there. So in your package, you have all the breakdown of the different costs that they included in that $82,000. It ranges from, you know, grading to storm sewer pipe to concrete, asphalt. They had to redesign the whole storm sewer system. So there's that cost in there as well. So like I said, the total cost was $82,335.29, and we will fund that out of the municipal road aid fund.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
And I'll add real quick, Hannah and I at Planning and Zoning are discussing ways to make sure that the developer will be on the hook for this in the future when we have things like this come forward. So we're looking in language we can add to the subdivision regulations so that if there's an intersection, a four-way intersection of major thoroughfare, that a roundabout will be automatically included in their design. So the city won't be on the hook next time. So we're working on that in the meantime.
I move for approval of Resolution 2026-01-1209.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions or comments for Josh? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Chief McGurdy, you're up next.
Yeah, so in your packet, I've got a live work agreement with the technical school at North Point Training Center to possibly furnish us with new furnishings for the fire station. About 3 years ago, when we moved in there, we had the funding and the ability to furnish 3 of the dorm rooms with beds, wardrobes, and tables, or actually 6 of the dorm rooms. We've actually reached that capacity now, and we're starting to flow into some of the other rooms and don't have suitable furniture. When we started looking to replace that furniture and actually got quotes for replaceable furniture like the furniture that's in there, it was going to be between $32,000 and $38,000. Someone approached me and said, hey, we've got a very nice carpentry vocational program out of the prison. They should be able to build those for you. So I looked into that, and what they require is us to enter into this agreement. They require a $15 fee, shop fee, and you supply them with all the necessary materials to build the furniture, and they provide all the labor. And then you just have to coordinate with them and take care of the logistics and pick it up in a timely manner, and they can perform all that work for us. So we thought that was a great opportunity to be able to save the citizens money in doing that, and I feel confident that they have the skills and ability to build some very like furniture very similar to what we already have in this station.
It was impressive reading that. That's pretty neat. Cool. Yeah. Is there a motion from the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-01-1210.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments, questions?
If you've not seen, their furniture is beautiful that they make, so that's great that you all they reached out, you reached out to them.
Yeah.
It's quality.
Yeah. Other comments and questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right. We still have not, Robert E. Todd Jr. has not arrived yet. So I'd like to go ahead and get this proclamation into record, and then we'll just try to arrange a time to present it to him someplace else, okay? So Ashley, I'm going to try to read this, but I want to tell everybody she's got a font size 6 on this thing, so.
Would you like me to read it for you?
Oh, well, yes, ma'am. You got a copy of it?
Yes, I have a copy of it.
Look at, look, wait.
Wait a
Can you
minute.
see that?
That's not
Look.
fair.
I told her to put size 12 on yours. Smarty. Yes, ma'am, go right here.
Whereas Robert E. Todd Jr. has spent the last 62 years as a Boy Scout, beginning in 1963 in Texas as a Cub Scout, and then continuing as a Cub Scout in Kansas and graduating into Boy Scouts in Kentucky in Troop 46. And whereas in 1973, as a member of Troop 306 in Louisville, Robert earned his Eagle Scout as a member of the last class to do so under the original scouting plan that began in 1910. And whereas Robert became an adult volunteer in 1974, first with Troop 306 in Louisville and then with Troop 119 in Danville, before leaving for Florence to serve as the chair for Gunpowder District and Simon Kenton Council. And whereas Robert returned to Danville, rejoining Troop 119, and served both the troop and his district as advancement chair in Eagle Board of Reviews in Wilderness Trail District, Heritage District, and Palisades District, and chapter advisor to Wyandotte Chapter, Coweta Lodge 480. And whereas Robert has received multiple recognitions through the Boy Scouts throughout his years, now therefore be it resolved, the City of Danville Board of Commissioners recognize Robert E. Todd Jr. for his dedication and service to the Boy Scouts.
Thank you, ma'am. That's amazing to me. Yeah. He got honored by the troop sometimes in the Christmas holidays, but when I found this out, I said, well, we really can't do this without having it done at an official meeting, so that's why we're doing it tonight. But to me, it was really impressive, yeah. So is there a motion to approve this proclamation for Mr. Robert E. Todd Jr.'s lifetime commitment to Boy Scouts?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Y'all just be fighting over it. Thank you, lady.
We don't need an executive session.
Was that, all in favor of this motion, say aye. Aye. And Kevin, you want to make a, those opposed, motion carries. You want to make a motion about executive session?
So we don't have it.
Go ahead.
Do we need one?
Yes, sir, we do. For the personnel.
See, I tried last meeting, you wouldn't even second it, so yeah, you gonna try, okay. There is a need for an executive session dealing with personnel.
For litigation and personnel.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Just, it went from 15 minutes to 3 hours, so, okay. Yeah.
I just want to say, I'll make a motion, but I want to say, hopefully we can put some of these good things out on the website. I know Melanie does, but like from the wastewater, all the grants that we're applying for the wastewater and the, safe roads and, all the good things we're doing, hopefully people can see out there that staff is doing.
So you made a
City is
motion,
doing.
you made a motion not to go in executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session, meeting Carmel, to discuss personnel matters pursuant to KRS 618101F and for litigation pursuant to KRS 618101C.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second? Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed like me say nay. Nay. Favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we're back in regular session. Mr. City Manager.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Ryan Stowell to the position of firefighter recruit.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next one.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Charlie Wilson to the position of firefighter recruit.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you all. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Brody Staton to the position of water distribution trainee.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Shannon Watson to the position of utility billing specialist.
And so moved.
Second.
Thank you all. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Ryan Ridge to the position of police officer recruit.
And so moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. One more.
Staff is recommending the hiring of Milter Hernandez to the position of police officer recruit.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you all. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations to all 6 of them. Wow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Third.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All I know is that y'all making me late to the